More than 90% of AI agencies never make it past that $10,000 a month mark. They all trip over the same structural mistakes at the very start. I know this because I've lived both sides of it. I've scaled my own agency past $1 million in revenue, and I've watched hundreds of others inside my school community try to do the same. Some take off, some crash and burn, and the gap between them always comes down to the same mistakes. And that's why this video matters, because once you understand the exact 3 mistakes that sink almost everyone, you'll know exactly how to build an agency that breaks past 10K and keeps going. I'll walk you through each of these mistakes, and I'll even show you how I engineered around them to scale past $1 million myself. So let's get into it, because once you see how these mistakes show up, it's impossible to unsee them. Mistake number 1 is the offer. It's what you're actually putting in front of the market. If the offer isn't right, nothing else matters. You can send emails, run ads, or build systems, but if what you're selling doesn't land, the pipeline never even starts. And that's why so many agencies stall, not because of lack of effort, but because the foundation they're building on is already broken. So what makes a good offer? A valid offer always checks 5 key boxes. The first box is that your offer has to be for businesses, not consumers. And the reason is simple. You can actually reach businesses directly. You can look up who runs a company, get their email, and contact them today if you want to. You can't do that with random consumers at scale. And that's why the fastest growing agencies always target businesses. It makes client acquisition predictable. Second, your offer has to solve a core economic driver. An economic driver is the thing that actually moves a business forward, the lever that creates real value. And for every business, that's always come down to one of 3 things: make more money, saving money, or saving time. If your offer doesn't hit one of those, it's going to feel like a nice to have, and nice to haves never get budget priority. Third, your offer has to be easy to explain. And I'm not talking about oversimplifying. I mean, you should be able to put it into 1 or 2 clear sentences. The cleanest format is we do X for Y using Z. You only ever get a few seconds of attention with outreach, and if someone can't understand the value instantly, the conversation is over. Fourth, there has to be market demand. If you have to convince people they need what you're offering, you're dead in the water. That's why positioning yourself around what's already working in the market isn't a weakness, it's actually a shortcut. When you sell into existing demand, prospects already understand the value. You don't have to teach them, you just have to show them why you're the better choice. And finally, your offer has to be repeatable and scalable. If delivery takes too much of your time, growth inevitably stalls. The more systemized and repeatable your offer is, the easier it becomes to take on more clients without everything breaking down the line. So those are the 5 boxes. They are the foundation. Get them right and you can actually build an agency that scales. Get them wrong and nothing else you do will matter. Now, if you don't have an offer yet, here's the fastest way to get started. Go online and pick 20 companies you'd actually like to work with. Find the founder or owner and send them a LinkedIn message or a personal DM. Ask them directly, what's the one thing slowing down your growth right now, and would you pay someone to solve it? Maybe only 2 or 3 reply, but that's enough to start spotting real problems in businesses. Think of it as market research. You're not selling, you're just listening. Once you have something that looks promising, run it past the boxes we just went through. Does it meet the criteria? Is it B2B? Does it tie to money or time? Is it simple to explain? And here's the big one. Does anyone already care about it? And from there, test it again. Go back to those same founders or reach out to a bunch of new ones. Put your idea into a clean sentence and just ask them, I'm doing some research and thinking about offering this. Would something like this actually be useful for you? When you approach it that way, people are far more likely to give you an honest reaction. If nobody bites, you go back and refine. But if even a handful lean in, you found the seed of a real business and everything else becomes easier from there. So once the offer is bulletproof, you've solved the input problem. That's the foundation. But even with the right offer, most agencies still stall, not because the market isn't there, but because they don't know how to turn that clarity into a predictable flow of clients. And that's mistake number 2, not having a sales process. What I see again and again in my community is that people's first clients almost always come from the same places: a friend, a referral, or someone in their close network. You can't scale a business waiting for someone in your circle to throw you the next deal. At some point, you need a system, a predictable way of generating clients so growth isn't left up to chance. So what does predictable look like? Well, it's cold outreach, cold email, LinkedIn, DMs, direct channels where you decide who to contact and when. With outreach, you're not waiting around. You're actively creating meetings and opportunities. And that's the difference between growth you can control and growth you just hope for. Now, let me show you how to actually map out a system like this, step by step, so you can copy it into your own business. The first step is picking your channel. In cold outreach, you've got 4 real options: cold email, LinkedIn, cold calling, or DMs. They can all work, but some are far more scalable than others. LinkedIn is great for connecting with founders and decision makers, but you're capped by daily sending limits. Cold calling can be very powerful in industries where people actually pick up the phone, but it takes more skill and effort to pull off. DMs can work in niches like coaching or creative services, but they're hard to scale because finding the right accounts takes a lot of time. But email is the backbone. It's the one channel you can reliably scale because you can verify contacts, reach decision makers directly, and send enough volume to make the numbers work. That's why for most agencies, email does the heavy lifting, while LinkedIn, cold calls, and DMs are smart complements. It's also the channel my own agency runs on. Email is what keeps my calendar filled up week after week. Once you've chosen your channel, step 2 is actually doing the outreach. Outreach is about getting your offer in front of people and guiding them to one clear next step, which is booking a call. Every message, no matter the channel, should eventually point to your calendar because you don't close deals in the inbox. The call is where you build trust, you diagnose the problem, and actually win the client. That's how you turn conversations into actual opportunities. Then step 3 is the sales call. You don't need a word-for-word script, but you do need a framework, a structure you can run every time with confidence. Start with a strong intro to set the tone, then move into discovery, which is asking the questions that uncover the real pain points. Once you understand the problem, present your solution clearly and tie it back to their pain points. If any objections come up, which is natural, handle them calmly instead of getting defensive. And finally, go for the close. If they say yes, send your proposal and lock it in. If it's not a yes, it's either a follow-up or it's done. The point should be you always know the outcome after the sales call and the pipeline keeps moving. When you put this together, you've got a real process, one you can trust. You find where your ICP lives, reach them through the channels that scales, drive them to your calendar, run a structured sales call, and close with a proposal. That's the engine. Without it, you'll always be stuck at 1 or 2 lucky clients. With it, you can control your pipeline, your meetings, and your revenue. That's the difference between hoping for growth and building a business that actually scales. Now, if you want to build this properly, that's what we do inside my school community. You'll get the exact systems I use to scale past 100K a month, the outreach automations, the sales calls framework, the proposals. And it's not just me who's having success. Members are already using them to land their first clients and stack real pipelines. The link to join is in the description below. Okay, back to the video, because even with the right offer and a solid sales process, there's still one more trap that kills momentum. And it's the reason most people can't close deals even when they finally get calls on the calendar. And that's mistake number 3, no proof. At the start, nobody has testimonials or case studies. That's impossible unless you're faking them. The mistake is then trying to sell high-ticket retainers with 0 credibility. People aren't going to wire you thousands if you can't show them anything that makes them believe they'll actually get results in return. Doing business is all about trust, but why would anyone trust you if you can't show them you've done this before or that you actually know what you're talking about? The answer is obvious, they won't. Without proof, even the strongest pitch feels like a gamble, and nobody wants to gamble thousands on a complete stranger. Think about it for yourself. When a prospect is about to pay you $2,000 or $3,000 a month, they're not buying your words, they're buying confidence. Proof gives them that confidence. Case studies, testimonials, visible client results, even small wins you can clearly show. It's about stacking enough signals that make the decision feel safe. And without those signals, the default reaction is doubt. Prospects hesitate, push back, or simply walk away. And that's usually why beginners stall. They try to sell premium retainers before they've earned the right and the trust to justify them. So you're probably wondering, what's the right play instead? Well, in the beginning, forget about premium retainers. Offer your service at break even, maybe even free, just enough to cover your tools. The goal isn't profit, the goal is proof. Take on those first clients, get them results, and then capture it. Campaign screenshots, a testimonial, even a DM where they thank you for the outcome. Those little signals start stacking up over time because proof compounds. Each client win lowers the resistance for the next one. And what felt impossible to close at first 2,000 or 3,000 a month becomes realistic once prospects see that you've already delivered for someone else. That's how you flip the script. Instead of pushing harder, you let proof do the heavy lifting for you. So here's the checklist if you're just starting out. First, forget profit. Your first goal is proof. Second, collect it obsessively. Screenshots, testimonials, case studies, even casual DMs. And third, put it everywhere. Your landing page, your outreach, your socials. Do these 3 things and you'll never struggle to justify your prices again. Because that's the thing about proof. It doesn't just close your deals, it actually compounds. Every client win makes the next one easier. So let's zoom out and tie this all together. Because once you see the full picture, you know exactly what separates the agencies that stall from the ones that scale. So let's recap the 3 mistakes and more importantly, the fixes that actually move you forward. Mistake 1 was the offer, the input problem. If what you're selling doesn't land, no amount of outreach or systems will save you. So the fix was simple. Build an offer that's B2B, tied to money or time, easy to explain, already in demand and repeatable. That should be your foundation. Mistake 2 was not having your own sales process, the conversion problem. Friends and referrals might get you started, but they'll never get you to scale. You need outreach that drives calls, a call framework that closes, and a system that keeps the pipeline moving no matter the outcome. That's how you create growth you can actually control. And mistake 3 was not having proof, so the trust problem. Clients won't pay thousands on blind faith. You need wins on the board, even small ones. Stack them, capture them, and put them everywhere so prospects feel safe saying yes. Proof is what makes high retainers possible. Put these 3 together and you've got a clear playbook. Get the input right, install the process, build the proof. That's how you break past 10K and keep on scaling. Now, if you're serious about building an agency that actually lands clients and scales, that's what my school community is for. Inside, you'll get the exact systems I use to go from 0 to 100K a month. From getting your first clients with cold email, to filling your calendar every week, to closing and keeping those clients long term. It's the full playbook and the link to join is in the description. I'll see you guys inside.